What is up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. It is time for another Texas Red Bulls update. This is episode 2. We are in season 2. We just finished up July, and there's a lot to go through. So let's go ahead and get started. You see the record. Let's get into the standings here. Team's doing well again. 70 and 37. I gotta say, I'm very surprised by this amount of success in Stone. Again, I thought we'd kind of run into a little bit more pushback here, but the team is just cooking, and I'm not mad about it. Again, we will eventually run into that wall, and again, maybe it's next month. I hit the wrong thing there, or next week. Maybe it's the week after. That's still the wrong thing. I'm going to go here to get the order. Maybe it's bronze. Maybe it's iron. I don't know. I thought Stone would give us a bigger challenge, and we're not doing as well as we did last year, but we're still doing very well. We're running away with the division. We're damn near a lock for the playoffs, unless we just cut the entire team and put in a bunch of irons or something. A 183 run differential. We're playing right to our Pythag, which takes your runs scored, your runs allowed, kind of comes up with an expected win-loss record. We're great at home. We're great on the road. We're above 500 in extra innings. We're +5 in one-run games, and both of these things generally go about 50-50. So we're playing over in them. Crushing lefties when we face them. Righties as well. We are on a lose too. We did lose our last two of the month, so I don't love that, but it's fine. Let's take a look at how the team's doing here. Let's go with the hitters first. Phil Clark's just having an awesome season. He is out of his mind. He's already matched his home run total. He's hitting 316, 332, 519, 130 WRC plus. He already matched his stolen base total too. So his homers and stolen bases are already matched from last year in 140 fewer plate appearances. You love to see it. He's been beastly back there, and he's assumed the full-time job. Oh wait, no, I put Olsen back in as a starter against lefties because that was his strong spot. But Clark plays against lefties because he plays for Will Clark, so that's what I mean by full-time. He's playing all the time, but he is not the full-time catcher. For Olsen's part, again, way better against lefties so far. Not good against righties. I'm not going to spin this as useful at 630, but it's not the kind of down season that I'm like, oh no, this is going to kill us. And obviously we have a great record anyway, but either way, even if we were struggling a bit more, I wouldn't necessarily run to this and say, oh, we need to replace Greg Olsen. He's terrible, because he's still +1 WAR. He's still a 1-win guy, because his defense has been playing pretty well there, which tells me he's maximizing his 66 catcher abilities. So we like that. Will Clark, fantastic. 23 homers, 82 ribs, 61 runs, 9% walk rate, 18% strikeout rate. He's just been wonderful. He's doing the overwhelming bulk of his damage against righties, and we're not even really starting him against lefties right now. We're just platooning him, and that's okay. I wish an 88 Gold was playing more full-time in Stone, but we can afford to not, with the other Clark. So we got our Clark duo there at first base. Marty Barrett, he mixes in, not very good. Todd Walker having another brilliant season. My gosh, he's pacing to top last year, and last year was awesome. He's on a 100-100 pace right now, which is incredible. 33 steals, 11 homers. Again, I mentioned this with him last year, last season, I should say. What an amazing fantasy season this would be from a silver Todd Walker, whose general fantasy outlook was never seen as a superstar, so he was always kind of like a mid-round type guy, and so that's probably what he would be drafted as, and he'd put up this amazing season. Although maybe not in this world that we live in 2060, he would have gone much higher because of his great first season there. And then we got Ed Sprague, who's platooning a bit too. Now he's flipped his platoon, and that's the craziness with platoons. And I gotta say, this is not a game issue. This is a real life thing wherein platoons aren't super bankable. we talk about guys who are righty or lefty killers, but from a mathematical standpoint, platoons don't stabilize for a really long time. And what I mean by stabilize is there's a mathematical point. And I'm not a big math guy. Okay, so if I get points wrong here that you guys know better, please put it in the comments. But if you're also not much of a math person, understand that you're not learning from the top dog here. But this is stuff that I've learned from other people. And there's a statistical point where the numbers that you're looking at when we talk about stabilization have value. They have more weight to them. It doesn't mean that that's who the player is and that it's infallible. It just means that it has more statistical weight. So, splits take forever. Strikeouts don't take very long at all. I think it takes like 60 plate appearances, whether you're a pitcher or a hitter, to have a good idea of where your strikeout rate is going to be. Or the strikeout rate that you've put up in those 60 plate appearances is a good indicator of where you're at. It stabilizes quickly. So anyway, he completely flipped his platoon. Last year, he destroyed lefties and really wasn't playing much against righties. This year, his righty work is the only thing sustaining him, which is interesting because he's so much better against lefties, but that's the volatility of platoons. I still have him starting against lefties though, because when the talent's there, you just let the guy play through it, and hopefully the numbers get back to where they belong. A 194 BABIP, that's ridiculous. 12% walk, 15% strikeout. Those are excellent rates. If he maintains those, he's gonna be fine. We're also not facing a ton of lefties. What were we like, 15-7 or something? Like only 12 of our starts. Now there's other guys. Yeah, okay, 16-7. So that's 23 games there. You see other teams, you got 28 games. Dang, they got 33 games. So, we're not getting as many opportunities against lefty starters to get Sprague in there to do some damage. So it's whatever. He's not having a great year. I talked about him being a platoon guy that we could hang on to for a while at the very least. Season 2 not going so well. Jeff Blauser has come back to earth after a brilliant year last year, and make no mistake, a lot of it's tied to the fact that a 408 BABIP was never going to last. The fact that it lasted an entire year was special and fun, but he wasn't going to repeat that feat again. He's pacing for more of a 2-win season, and that's okay. Jose Vizcaino, he's been fine as a fill-in. Now we go to the outfield. Roberto Cali sputtering a little bit. Okay, I want to check out his trajectory real quick. He's killing lefties, but again, small sample because we're not facing many, and struggling a bit against righties. Let's look at his month by month. He was solid the first 2 months. I'll take high 700s. This is more mid 700s, but like 774 OPS, 758. I'm taking that all day. But then down to 675, 737. So he's just been kind of meandering along, and then the one bad month kind of dragged him down there below average. Not worried about him in the slightest. Roberto Cali, you're not going anywhere. And then we got, let's go back to our righty lineup. And then we got Tim Raines, who looks like he slowed down a little bit, but not much. Now he's getting to just killing lefties and being like simply good against righties. Like 120 is very good, but 158 against lefties is like domination. I want to see his splits real quick too. Yeah, because he got off to just an electric start that was never going to maintain, and he's been fine since. 848, 754, 703. They're moving down his OPS totals, but as long as he doesn't keep that trend going, he needs to curb that here in the month of August and start turning the tide for a good finish to the season. Kenny Lofton remains the best player in this entire league. 1025 OPS, 10 homers, 79 steals. Season could end right there, and that's a brilliant campaign. But no, it's not over. He's pacing for 15 homers, 120 steals. It's silly. And then our boy Thomas Howard picking up the Roberto Cali slack. He's a bronze, Kelly being a silver. Their expectations are a little bit different, and they're just kind of filling each other's roles. Kelly playing more like a bronze, Howard playing more like a silver. So good on him. He's holding his own against lefties, but then doing really good work against righties. He is a switch hitter, And he plays quality defense too. Doesn't have a huge arm there in right. I wish I had a better arm. But Reigns can only play, well, he's actually DHing. Kelly doesn't have a great arm either. So that's why I got him in left, and then Lofton in center also. Well, they have a great arm for him. His early career, he had a better arm, but he doesn't play anywhere else anyway. So that leaves Howard in right, and we just kind of deal with it. So that's the offense. Let's look at the pitching. And Alex Fernandez still trying to kind of turn things around. Let's see where his trajectory's gone. Yeah, because he got off to a rough start. Now he is the reigning Cy Young winner. Are you reigning if you switch leagues though? I mean, we went from rookie to stone, so he's like the rookie reigning Cy Young, and now you move into another league and whatever. Anyway, he won it last year is the point, and it's really this May and a little bit of this April, but the May is holding him back. If this was just even if it was like a 4.50 ERA, just some quality starts, 6 innings, 3 runs, his ERA would be under 4, and we wouldn't even be worried about him. As it stands, I'm not worried about him. 413, 126 whip with a 17% strikeout minus walk rate. He's fine. I'm just not worried about it. Let's look at Dave Stieb. You know who is about to be the reigning Cy Young? Is Dave MF and Stieb. My man is killing it. He's pacing toward a 10 WAR season, which is silly. I know I talked last episode about how I don't love pitcher WAR, and I don't, but I'm still going to acknowledge if someone puts up a 10, how gross that could be. 231, 104, 23% strikeout minus walk. If you're wondering why he's the number 2 and Fernandez is the ace, because Fernandez was on the team from day one. He is the team's ace, and this happens plenty of times in real life where there's an established guy who is seen as their ace. He gets the opening day draw, even if they have a better pitcher behind him. And it's not like Fernandez is some loser. It'd be one thing if I had like an iron and we're like, he's our ace, we love him, and we were starting a markedly worse player. Now, Steve is better than Fernandez, but they can be a 1-2. And Steve, to his credit, came in as a free agent, said, you know what, this is Alex's team. I'm just here to help, and they get along really well. Steve and Fernandez, they're good buddies. They're good buddies. They're trading pitches and whatnot. He's fastball, curveball, slider, changeup. He throws most of those too. Fastball, sinker, curveball, slider, changeup. I've heard that Fernandez is working on a sinker, and he's teaching Steve a little bit better of a changeup. So we'll see if anything comes of it. Dustin Hermanson's killing it as our number 3. And let's see where he's been. He got off to an amazing start, sputtered in May, killed it, solidly fine in July. So mostly great this year for Dustin Hermanson. Sterling Hitchcock, I talked him up about how great he was and how much he was going to always be on our team, or be on our team for a long time. And then he sputters a little bit, but not enough worth caring about. And this is why I like to look at the individual splits. I'm actually more of a game log guy. And I do this for real life too, not just OOTP. When I'm assessing a pitcher, I want to see the makeup of their ERA. ERAs on their own can offer something. They can give you a starting point. They can give you some idea, but they don't tell you everything. Not even close. So you have to see how they got to the number they're at. I always talk about this example, but like, is a guy consistently getting beaten up, and that's why he's got a higher ERA? Or has he had like 7 great starts, but 2 or 3 mega duds that have his ERA just outsized? And if he can tamp down those meltdown starts, then he'll be fine. So that's why I'm always looking at game logs and splits and just seeing the makeup of guys' numbers. So we look here with Hitchcock. He's got a 6, a 5, a 6, couple 5s. So I think it's the blow-up start that's really getting him. This one was only 1 2/3. That's going to do a lot of damage, just like this one here. So he's had some landmines that he's run over, and that's causing the elevated ERA. But at 4.04 from our number 4 starter, we're not worried. Charles Nagy at 4.34, again from our 5th starter, we're not worried. Even though it hasn't been elite, I'm not going to panic. He's been fine. He's been really bad in 1 month. I just did a perfect draft. He's had 1 bad month. And, the whip wasn't good here. I'm just going off of ERA, though. Like, fine. Again, fine. Anything like 450 and under. Again, 6 innings, 3 runs is a 450. That's the baseline quality start. Like 450 in our heads sounds bad. I think that's because we play fantasy and we think about that. And we're like, oh, that's not that good. That's actually pretty good. It's pretty good. It's not great for fantasy purposes if you're in like a 10-team league, but in real life baseball, 450 is fine. So a 434 from your 5th starter, you take that all day. Plus he's on the come up. He had a nice July. He's going to carry that into August and sprint to the finish line. Bullpen. Let's go here and pop the relievers and then go by innings. Scott Terry, the newcomer. Now, I already know this one. I have checked the team in between this, the first video and this one here, so I've been kind of following. And Terry has had an interesting trajectory. You see here, 2.20 ERA, 108 WHIP, and 61 in the 3rd innings. He's been great. He really has been awesome. He's an extreme ground ball guy. Doesn't get a lot of strikeouts, so you see that here, 16%. But he doesn't walk guys. Good hit rate. There's a lot to like. It was not always like this, folks. He got off to a slow start. And it was just the first month, but it was so bad. And it was really just these 2 outings here. But for a reliever, that can take a while to work off. So 5 runs in a 1/3 of an inning, and then 3 more in an inning and a 1/3. That's tough. He did get 4 innings clean here. That really helped expedite this process. But even as late as mid-May, he was still carrying the effects of these 2 dud outings, even though for the most part he'd been pretty great beyond that. This one's pretty bad too, 2/3, 2 runs, but a lot of great outings here that he just couldn't quite get the recognition for because his composite ERA was still so ugly. Well, he's chiseled. He really only has 1 colossally bad outing, this one here where you give up 3 runs, but only 1 was earned. Otherwise, it's a bunch of zeros with a few ones dotted in, and Scott Terry has really calmed down and become this bullpen's leader. And I did put him in long relief because he has a 21 stamina, and I've been doing this a lot in Perfect Draft as well. I've been putting long relief for a secondary role of a good reliever because they use that role a lot. You'll notice when you do a Perfect Draft, they usually put 2 irons, depending on how many iron pitchers you have to draft. But they'll put like your 2 or 3 iron guys in the long relief role. And you're like, okay, that's fine. Because mentally you think about that and you're like, well, yeah, long relief role is usually like the last guy in the bullpen. But the game goes to them a lot. So there's a little bit of a disconnect there where they put a little bit too much value on the long relief role because of how often they go to it, even though the game also recognizes that it's not an important role, right? So they're kind of contradicting each other. Don't put my iron there and then throw him in 3 of 4 games that don't call for that situation. Because I've checked it too. It's not just like when a long reliever would come in or when we're losing big. They're bringing them in like key spots, and I'm just bugging out like, what are you doing? So anyway, that's why I have him and Gutterman with secondary long relief, because I don't mind if they throw long relief innings. Speaking of Gutterman, he's our number 2 guy in innings. Very similar build to Terry. He's basically a bronze Terry. Doesn't strike many guys out, keeps the ball down on the ground, and finds success there. Doesn't walk a ton of guys either, and he's been great again. Roger Mason, he's bouncing back from a rough season. Or no, excuse me, reversed. He was okay last year, and he's having a rough season this year. Sorry, I was timelining those way wrong. He was 4-13 for a reliever. That's whatever. He was fine. Like, he was neutral last year, let's say. Like, he didn't hurt, but he didn't super help. This year, he's hurting a little bit more with a 5.55 ERA, but a 1.23 WHIP. Like, that's still a pretty good WHIP, and it makes me think that maybe he can get out of this. Like, there might be some bad luck working his way that if things break his way a little bit more, maybe he can get back on track. So we'll see. If not, maybe he's a candidate for replacement next year. I'm just saying. I wonder first, though, do we maybe need to put somebody in that setup role? Because that's a really high ERA to be working the setup role. And I wonder if I have to put Terry there. I think I might. I'm going to move him back to middle relief. I'm going to bring Terry into the setup. I'm still going to keep long relief for his secondary role. And I'm going to bring him for the 6th or earlier. So he can still come in early. And we're still going to have guys like Charlton. And I think Lilliquist is having a great year. He's actually getting some closing opportunities. And Mason does have 11 saves. Let me look at this a little bit deeper here. Let me see if I need to panic here, or is there some telltale signs that say maybe not to worry about it so much. So 344 BABIP when he had a really bad month, 429 when he had a bad month. This one, 655 ERA though, 194. You can't blame BABIP for that one. You know, that's not going to fly. But he's not walking anybody. You know, decent strikeout rate. He's just giving up a ton of hits right now. Where's his home run rate? I thought I put home run rate on it. I thought I literally added it the last time that we did this. I swear I did. Was it a dream? No, I swear I didn't have home run rate on here and I added it. Maybe I didn't save. Maybe that's it. Maybe I did this, had this set, but then didn't save. How do you do that? I thought maybe it was just auto save. I don't know. Anyway, home run rate's here now. 2.4. That's what's killing him. It's the homers. It's absolutely the homers. So, multi-homer game there. Multi-homer game there. A lot of homers early. Since early May, he's only allowed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's only allowed 6 in that time. And how many innings is that? That's going to be... I can do that math real quick. Just get rid of these. 12 plus 1 inning from May. So that's 13 innings. And so we'll take... Now I forgot the number of home runs though. So it's 35 2/3 innings. And how many homers did I say? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 homers. 6 and 35 2/3. That's a 1.5. That's still high, but it's not 2.4. Anyway, Roger Mason's gotten a lot of airtime today. Norm Charlton, he's beasting again. He's really good. Obviously, these early levels are going to work very well for a flamethrower like this. The control will breed some volatility. Like if he spikes, you know, like a 4.90 ERA, 140 WHIP kind of season, it's not going to surprise me. But so far, the walk rate has not been hurting him. He's striking everybody out. He's tough to hit. He's tough to hit homers against. So he's been one of our best guys. David West. Now, if I was any kind of producer, I would cut to the first video where I said, something to the effect of, unless David West has some great season. In fact, I can find it. I'm going to do it. I marked the timestamp for it. So I am going to find it. And we're going to see what I said about David West. Because I made a comment with regards to David West and his viability on this team. Because I said that, you know, if he didn't have a particular type of year, then he'd be ousted for somebody else. And look at the year that he's having. It's been something. All right, let's find it here. I think I got it. Let's see if this works. Let's see if this is let's see if I hit the right timestamp first. Oh, sorry, you could probably hear me there. I thought I paused the video, but I did not. Let me pull it up for y'all to see. And we're gonna hold me accountable. You know, I'm out here running my yap, then I need to be accountable to that. You know, it's only fair. All right, so it looks like that for some reason. That's irrelevant. I'm all over the map right now. Let's just get this like this, and let's just see what I said. Did I say something crazy about
Mike Maddox.
David West?
Here's the thing. Because
No,
we deal with
I put it around 43.
Both. I just started calling him. Yeah.
I think I just said around 43.
Than anything else, because like he's Mike Maddox, that much stuff and extreme ground ball. I think he's also a Longhorn. Actually, I think maybe just his son is. I don't know if Bruce Ruffin also went to Texas. I don't know. Oh, he did. Hook 'em horns, baby. Well, shit. Tim Leano's a righty, right?
I really wanted Bruce Ruffin, but he was a lefty.
We have to do a righty. I'll tell you what. Next week, if we do well and we get upgrades, we will take off David West for Bruce Ruffin. But
now, David West had what was that, like a 4.72 ERA last year? Like, he didn't have a great season. 4.72, yeah. And I had some pretty big expectations for him. And I was like, come on, man, you really came up small in a big year for the team. And he had some rough outings in the playoffs that bothered me. I was like, man, I don't know about this David West. So that's why I said that. Well, Bruce Ruffin, you might have to wait. Because, listen, David West has a 2.76 ERA. However, Ruffin, don't go running away yet. Because it does come with a 149 whip. So it's a push-pull right now where I'm like, I did say if he has a good season or a bad season, we'll replace him. But now the ERA is shiny, and it's like, do I trust the ERA, or do I look underneath the hood the way I'm always going to do and not just go off of a glossy ERA and see a 149 whip, just an obscene walk rate because he's got a 30 control, and maybe still get Ruffin. We'll see. There's still 2 months plus playoffs. So nothing's set in stone, but it was funny that I said that, and then he goes out and puts up this shiny ERA. He's trying to fool me. And right now, I'm not fooled. Derek Lilliquist, killing it 2 years in a row. Just honestly amazing. Way better than I expected. Extreme fly ball scared me. I didn't really feel super comfortable rostering him, but it was recommended in the chat when we were building the team, and they had knocked it out of the park. He's been great. No complaints there. Jeff Bronke putting up a really sharp 28 innings so far, or 25 innings with a 2.88 ERA, one whip on the button. Great skills underneath. We're kind of minimizing him. You know, we got him in this avoid high leverage, and that's great. That's fine. Yeah, he's probably picking on lesser batters in easier situations. Fine by me. Fine by me. Now, Jeff Wallace. The man, the myth, the legend. This goes last season. 2.76 ERA, 1.28 whip. Now, he's always going to have a high whip. So even when he has good ERAs, you're still going to have to be suspect of Jeff Wallace because you know the volatility. I mean, he has a 2 control, for crying out loud. I love what he did first season. I want to keep it going as long as I can, but he's actively hurting the team right now. A 2.17 whip is horrendous. Nothing's going his way. The BABIP is through the roof. So every mistake, this is what happens here with an extreme profile like this. Currently, every mistake he makes is being punished. Makes, I should say. I think I said make. And so it's coming in the form of just 3 mega awful outings, 5 earned in a third of an inning here, 3 earned in 2/3 of an inning, and 2 earned in an inning and a third. You know what we're not seeing, though? Remember last season, and I wish you could look at previous game logs, but I get it'd be a lot of data to store the deeper you get if you could access a game log from like 7 seasons ago or something. So I understand. But one of the things that I was noticing was how many innings he had, and I was like, how's he getting all these 2 and 3 inning outings? Chat surmised that it was probably the stopper role that I had him in, and now I have him in middle relief and setup, and he has the fewest innings, which is curious. I wonder if it's the stamina finally catching up to him as well. The 8 stamina. That was another thing that bothered me, or at least confused me about all the innings that he was getting. I was like, how is he doing this on 8 stamina? So the bottom line is, it's rough right now. And I love him. He's a fun meme card, but we're not going to play a meme into the ground for funsies just because it's cool. We're going to move him into the specialist role right now with a middle relief backup, and we'll see if he can work his way out of it. But, you know, it might just be the one golden season, and then we have him here, and then maybe next year, and that might be his final year. We'll see. We'll see if he can turn it around. I want this card to be good. It's such a fun card, and there are routes to success, which we saw last year, which is striking everybody out, keeping the ball down, and not giving up too much when you do walk guys. Well, that's not working this year. The BABIP's through the roof, making the whip through the roof. You know, it's just, I mean, 21% walk rate, 217 whip. What else can I say? But that's the bullpen right now. So a lot of good throughout the hitting and pitching. You might have been checking up in the upper left corner there on some folks to see, hey, who made the All-Star team? But I'm going to show you directly here. So don't worry if you didn't catch that, because we did have the All-Star game this past month. And let's see who made it for us. I don't keep up with my emails, as you can see. And we were in National Conference last year. What are we in this year? We are in the AC. So we will take a look at the AC here. I got my little checklist of things that we're doing for the episode here. So I'm just checking in on that real quick. All right. So All-Stars. Wow, Phil Clark did not get any love. Look who the top vote getter was, though. Kenneth, we love it. Billiam, welcome to the squad. Todd Walker, baby. Let's go. Kenny. And then Reigns at DH. Okay. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 4 there. Dave Steve, that's 5. And then we'll see if we got more here when the full rosters are announced. We got 1 in Steve. We got 2. Phil Clark did make it. Okay, good. He wasn't... Okay, but he wasn't one of the top 3 vote getters. And yet there were 3 catchers. And I'm not going to argue because I'm glad we got another All-Star. But it seems a little weird there. Maybe because he plays some first base too. I don't know. But then we got Billiam, Will Clark, Todd Walker, Tim Raines is number 4, Kenny Lofton is 5, and we ended up getting 5. So it was the ones we'd seen plus Clark. We'll take it. We'll take 5. And let me look at this again from last time. What is the payout? We get 500. So they give 100 in game, and then we get an extra 500. So that's 2,500 extra there that we get for the All-Star appearances. Now let's take a look at the league leaders. See how the league's doing here. We've got Todd Walker leading the league in batting average with a nice little lead as well. He's up 6 points. Lofton creeping there too. He and the two of them are leading in OPS, with Lofton taking the lead there. And then Todd Walker just a double off the pace. Connor Gillespie with 35 doubles. Hey man, I see you. Yo, Connor Gillespie, high key a beast. Yo. Okay, so he's played in Rookie, Stone, and one time in Iron. And even then he still held his own. Okay, I need to remember this name for my 2000 Steam team, which I don't have yet. That was a hypothetical that I intend to do down the line. But he might be a go-to guy for that first squad. Connor Gillespie, okay. Noted. Seth Breezy leading in strikeouts. That's tough. I mean, he's an iron. You know, he's grinding it out, but he's got a 33% strikeout rate, man. That's too much. I'm glad we don't have anybody there, of course. Isolated power, that's just your slugging minus your batting average, so it kind of moves singles out of the equation and gives you an idea of your raw power. And the scale for that is anything over 200 is some pretty good punch. Then you start getting like 225 and above is next level power. And then, of course, the league leaders, they're the premium elite power type guys. it's all relative too, right? Like, like a 175, 180 ISO can be nice for kind of a slappier shortstop type who plays great defense and has speed. You don't need that much power out of him, but you probably need a 200 out of your no defense, slow as hell first baseman. Like, he's there to do that, and that was the problem with Balboni, was that he couldn't even reach a 200 ISO at the very least. Dan Pasqua leads the league in homers here with 29. Now, he could fit our team at some point, and I'm looking here, and he's only had one below average season for this team here, and he's played rookie, Stone. Okay, just those two. So they're bouncing back and forth between those two. He's a several-time All-Star here. What's that, 10? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8-time All-Star, playoff MVP, 2-time Platinum Stick, 13 years apart. Okay. That's the beauty of not aging. But he's been an absolute monster just living in these levels. Now, here's the thing. If we get promoted this year, we'll be an iron, a level he's never played. So, plus we already have Billiam at first, and we already have great outfielders. So I don't know if he'd ever be a fit. I wonder if maybe down the line he would be a fit as a bench bat, because eventually we'll get to a point where our bench bats are silvers. But that's down the road. WAR, of course, we're leading that. Kenny Lofton by a healthy margin. But then Perdomo number 2. This is the one I thought. Holy smokes, y'all. So this team has had Perdomo for a very long time. Are these MVPs? Yes, they are. He's a 4-time MVP, 2-time Gold Glove, billion-time All-Star, and billion-time Platinum Stick. Let's take a look. All right. Wow. 4-time MVP, 20-time All-Star, 15-time Platinum Stick. That is nuts. He's been playing for this guy since 2037, and he is awesome. Holy smokes. Look at these freaking seasons. And yet they can't put anything around him because they've been living in rookie. Like, that's where they spend most of their time. So maybe, this is kind of my guess. Oh, Cincinnati Royals, let's find them. They pulled him in their initial 6 packs, and they haven't really updated the team beyond that. That's kind of my guess right now. And based on this talent pool here, I'm going to say I'm dead on. But that's still crazy to pull a multi-time MVP, and it tells you, like, they could have been close to a little something. You don't have to put too much around that when you're getting a guy putting up 10 WAR to kind of move forward. But they just haven't really done much beyond that. But Geraldo Perdomo, man, beast. Or Geraldo, I guess. Perdomo. Lofton and Walker are beasts, right? They're here in triples, total bases. We already talked about their OPS, WAR. I mean, there are studs right now. OPS plus, of course. A lot of overlap here, these different categories. Bottom line is, they're 2 absolute gods. 74 walks for Lofton. They don't want that smoke. Billy Lush out here taking those walks. 89 I pick him in perfect draft. I don't want to say often, because those silvers, there's so many of them. There's so many of these early 1900s silver outfielders that are so nice, but they all kind of rotate and they all kind of jumble together too. I'm like, there's probably a handful of like 15 or 20 of them that I'm like, oh, pick him. Ducky Holmes. Ike Boone is more of a DH than an outfielder, but he fits that. I'm trying to think of others. Is Billy Southworth one of them? He's a bronze, but he's pretty good too. But Billy Lush, he's killing it. Who's E. Smith? Elmer Smith, that's another one. These 1920s and 1900s guys, they're a lot of fun. I feel like I have to do a theme team for every decade because I have favorite cards from every period. But no, I'll probably just do this one for several seasons and then maybe a 2000s one. Anyway, continuing on here. Billiam leading in ribbies. We love that. He doesn't even play against lefties that much. Tom Long leads the league in at-bats, which is interesting. Main reason it's interesting to me is because I kind of would have thought Lofton is. In fact, he's not even up here. And we have such a good offense that I'm like, how does nobody rank in the top 5 there? Because not only are we good, but we're scoring a bunch and getting guys, you know, we're getting more opportunities. Oh, these are at-bats. Ah, that's why, because I'm looking at at-bats, not plate appearances, and our guys take walks, baby. Where's plate appearances? Did they not have it because it's kind of redundant, I guess? I mean, they're two different things, but I guess you don't need to put both. Oh, there's an empty spot right here. They could have moved everything down and put plate appearances here and at-bats there, right? Whatever. But that explains why we're not at the top, because we don't fucking have shitty at-bats. We have plate appearances, baby, and we make the most of them, and we take some walks. Our at-bats leader has 394 and 388, 384, but they all have over 500 or 400 plate appearances because they out here walking. Total bases, we have 3 guys in the top 5 with O'Neal Cruz and Lee May. Lee May. Oh my gosh, he's another guy who's been around on his team forever. 23-time All-Star. 43-time Player of the Week. Southampton Saints. This is kind of why I wanted to look at the league leaders, was to find things like this. Are they another starter team that's just been riding it? Let's see. Yeah. I mean, you see a gold, a few silvers, and then bronzes and irons, and I just can't be convinced that this isn't the starter club. Like that's what it is, which is fine. I'm not trying to like clown on anybody, but it's wild, man, because they've been playing for a while, and Lee May has just been doing his best to try to move this team up, and they did get to iron. You know, they've had their opportunities. Or their chances to go up to iron and show that they got a little bit more. But Lee May, man, beast. All right, where were we? Sack hits, who cares? Why is that even listed? Who cares? Who could possibly care about that? Look at this win probability added gap. Like, that's just crazy. It's unfathomable. Let me give you some context on this. Let's see who led it this. I wish I knew it offhand. It would make it easier to give context super quickly, but I don't know that. But I can look it up, and it won't take too terribly long. In the interim, we can acknowledge some other categories here. A lot of guys we've already seen as far as who's ahead in OBP. Our 2 guys killing it in hits. Look at the stolen bases. 79, 69, very nice. 60, 59, 54. Who's D. Cook? Doc Cook. Oh yeah, he's such a speedster. That's another great thing about these guys that are the old timers from the 0s, 10s, and 20s. So many of them are fast. It's like basically if you are fast, you play baseball back then, because they will utilize your speed in a good way. All right, win probability added for this year. The league leader was Shohei Ohtani. Now, for his hitting, he had 5.18. And I don't know what it was for pitching for him. And I'm going to look up the pitching ones real quick just to see if anybody beat that. No. What did he add with his pitching to his win probability added? So I said 5.18 and then another 2.46. So he had 7.64 in one of the best seasons that we've ever seen, Ohtani's season this year. And Lofton's already there with 2 months left. Like, that's crazy. I'm sorry, that's just silly. That's silly pants. Oh, and we have sack flies too, cool. At least this drives in a run. But sack hits, stop it. You're embarrassing yourselves. Jordan Schaefer. Stop running, you're not that good. Oh, there Thomas Howard. I saw Howard, T. Howard, and I was like, that must be Thomas, but it wasn't underlined, so I knew it wasn't our guy. Let's see how he does in iron, if they've gotten there. Nah, they only got there once. He wasn't great, but I don't know that we can use one data point as a particularly useful sample. So, all right, that's the hitting leaders. Let's look at pitching. Probably won't spend as much time. Got a little bogged down there looking at some of the hitting stuff. Nick Nelson, are you a starter? Okay. He's qualified to learn everywhere. He's actually, like, for who he is, Nick Nelson, like, he's not a terrible hitter. Like, you don't want to use him. It's not something you draft in perfect draft and you say he's a pinch hitter. But he can bat for you in the 15th inning of a game type deal. But he's out here killing it, tied with Steve. And then who's Y Terry? Yank Terry. Okay. He's apparently awesome. Who knew? Not me. Kikuchi and Trevor Rogers. Kadori, Big Fern, Tyone, Eovaldi, and Stottlemyre. Is this just live series Eovaldi? Yep. And then strikeouts to walks. Matthew Boyd live series has the best strikeout to walk ratio in the league because, oh my God, did his strikeout rate spike. 28%, my man. I love it. I love Matthew Boyd, so I respect the hell out of it. Wishing him the best. Tigers aren't bringing him back. Hopefully he gets healthy and gets back on track, finds somewhere that helps him stifle the homers, because that's the biggest issue for sure. Our three guys lead in win percentage. That's not terribly surprising. We have such a great record, and our starters are very good. We got the 2 ERA leaders with Boyd. Is that Jimmy Nelson? Bro. I didn't know his stamina was still that high. So he's just been starting him as a workhorse. Okay. I mean, why not? His stamina is really high. Paul Maholm is wild here with a 2.99 ERA. Cool. Lynn Brenton and E. Palika. Who's this? Irv Palika. And then Zach Thompson, Player of the Month. Or Live Series. Player of the Month. They are all tied with 14 dubs. Interestingly, though, none of our guys in the win leaders. They're in the win percent leaders, but not in the win leaders. We only have 2 double-digit guys. Fernandez is only 8-7, 12-4, 11-2. Okay. I guess we're winning. We're taking the lead late, and the starters aren't getting as many of the dubs. Mel Queen leads in strikeout rate. Makes sense. He has a 114. Does he do anything else well, though? No. 155 whip, 4.98 ERA. But he does strike guys out. But if he doesn't strike them out, then they usually just crush the ball. It's kind of one of those two things. Steve's right there, and he's leading in ERA plus. Shutdowns. I love this stat. This is a pitching stat, or a reliever stat. I'm pitching, yes. But it's a reliever stat that deals with win probability added and how well or poorly you do in a game. There's shutdowns and meltdowns. You'll notice that it's in my little setup here, SDMD. And who's got the most meltdowns? Roger Mason. But he does have the most shutdowns, too. Charlton's a 17-7. What's Wallace at? 4-4. There you go. That explains a lot about his season. Casey Fine has the most, 28-3. Whoa! What a season. He's angling toward reliever of the year with this kind of work. Okay. Okay, Casey. I see you, man. I respect it. I'm out here. Ian Anderson catching hella L's. Just 2 complete games, or 2 shutouts. 3 complete games. That's that's real life today. So, and that's the era that we're playing in, is real life. So you're not going to see a ton of complete games. Steve not walking anybody. Good RA9 WAR. Brazier has hella holds. Holds are a weird stat. Like I don't hate them for fantasy. There are some wonky things where you can have a really bad outing and get a save. So I understand why people don't love them. But you can have a bad outing and get a win. So it's like, they're flawed. They're flawed. But I like the idea of, the only reason I like holds for fantasy is because it is another avenue to give middle relievers value. And they become such a big deal in real life that I think finding ways to give them value in fantasy is a good idea. Oh, I thought this was going to be a selector where I could choose other years. Oh, well, that would have been cool. Chris Martin leading the league in saves. Nice. Well, we don't have a guy up here because we spread it out, man. We are annoying to fantasy folks. Oh, Steve, you're so close. He leads the league by 2 WAR. Like I said, I'm not a huge pitcher WAR guy in terms of, just because I got into that last episode. Check out episode 1 if you want to see. But when you're up by 2 WAR, that just says a lot about how beastly you've been. Most walks is Walter Beal. He's got a Jeff Wallace-like control. I mean, he has an 8. Jeff Wallace has a 2, but this is a very Jeff Wallace-ian profile, except for no extreme ground ball. All right, so that's the pitching leaders. Pretty cool stuff. Just wanted to discover some players, see what's going on. And then the last thing I wanted to look at here to kind of wrap up was some of our achievements, some of our fun things that have happened during the season. Kenny Lofton had been on a 44-game stolen base streak without getting caught, which is awesome. And I don't have CS listed here, so we're not going to be able to find. Actually, we can get an idea of where it might be because he had, let's see, 2 in March, 21 through April. Oh, there you go, 44 through May. So, wait, he was caught in, oh, it might have been carryover from the previous, well, wait, when did the achievement happen? That's what I should look up first and foremost. The achievement happened on June 18th. So that's when his streak was snapped, right? Presumably. But until then, he'd been just running. Look at all these 2s. This is the SB column. Up right here. And just look at all these 2s. 2, 2, 2, 2. 4 games in a row where he stole 2. Like, are you kidding me? 3, 2. 2, 2, 2. So many 2. I mean, like, duh, I understand. It's not that I'm surprised. It's just further marveling over the fact that he has 79 stolen bases with 2 months left in the season. All right, we got running hard. Oh, he had 4 stolen bases in the game, and it wasn't Lofton. We got a cycle. We got a 14-game run streak. That's really cool. Most popular vote getter. Pitcher of the month, Dave Steve. Let's go. Double ding. Run streak. I'll go quickly to the bronze ones. I'm not as crazy about seeing. I wanted to see the higher end achievements. So I'm just kind of quickly scrolling through those. But yeah, I'd seen this streaking one earlier, and I was like, that's awesome, golden achievement. What are the diamond ones? I don't even know what they are to try to hope to get them. Not that I would change the team in any way. I just kind of wish I knew. Anyway, that's gonna wrap us up. We'll have another episode on the weekend, covering the playoffs. I got to figure out exactly how I want to do it. And I don't even know, I might stream. The best way probably with Sunday playoffs for this team is stream and then chop that down into a YouTube video. That's probably the best way. I don't know if I'm streaming this Sunday. I don't know what I've got going on. So if I don't have time to do it, and it's also something that's hard to commit to every Sunday, because if your team goes to the World Series, that's your whole day. And that's fine. I love it. It's so fun to follow a team's playoff the entire day and all the ups and downs, but it's a commitment. So to say I'm going to do it every Sunday without fail, well, first off, they need to make the playoffs, but you know what I mean. So anyway, we'll see how it goes, but I will have something this weekend, whether it's another Sunday night wrap up that kind of goes over everything, or is something that kind of follows the playoffs as they come. I'm not entirely sure yet, but thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back very soon.